So it's Labor Day, and I'm coming in to get some work done because I have all this free time in my class plan, and I just don't know what to do. I'm gonna be in here, and I thought I would just talk to you a little bit about how we could use those pollinator activities to do that. So hopefully you got the sarcasm alarms going off there. We have so much that we have to teach, at least as biology teachers, and in the state of Indiana. Maybe it's different for you guys elsewhere, but I'm suspecting not so. What we need to look at is how we can fit them into the other places in your curriculum where we're not having to use them all as like an entire package. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I know that the teachers that worked on this project, we all use them differently in our coursework. Some of us use them in the ecology unit, which may make the most obvious sense. There was the first time I used them, I actually used them in my evolution units because that's when I could fit them in. And again, when we talk about pollinators and this kind of coevolution model, there's easy ways to fit this in there. As ag teachers or in other curricular areas, you can find ways to integrate these, but also just to have like a backup lesson that you can use and have it like kind of a self-contained thing. Whereas it may be kind of a fun activity if you're gone or you need a down day, because that's true. Those are things, right? Or the kids are having like, I don't know, need some enrichment or something they get done with an activity, or you need something to kind of get a kid sparked and going that's really pushing back against what you have to offer. So these things might be, these activities might be used in that way. So if we do a quick search here for Purdue pollinator education, and should come up with the first link. It should be pollinator virtual learning, Purdue Extension Entomology. And then we're gonna look, you can kind of read through this pollinator virtual learning, but we're gonna look at the curriculum itself just for simplicity's sake on how we how you can kind of find this stuff. So if you followed these lessons, if you were going through it as a self-contained activity, I would just follow these lessons through as is. I'm going to show you some of the other virtual learning items that you can kind of use, as an alternative activity for something. So we first have the first one down here is the Design Your Own Landscape. And this is a game that you can play. It's a web-based game, and so you can play it on any platform. And this is a game where students, through trial and error, can discover how using different sorts of landscape design can add to the health for pollinators. So you can see they can just kind of through trial and error try these different items and put them in different places in the surroundings. One of the things that kind of gets everybody tripped up is you have to place all items, including all the areas of ground cover, before you will get your score. So at the end, you will get a score based on how well you place these things to maximize the effectiveness for pollinators. So the next one we have here is the flower and pollinator dissection. Click on that, and there's kind of two sorts of pieces to this. There's a actual flower dissection and the pollinator dissection. You can look at their mouth parts and how the mouth parts work with the plants themselves. But then you can also use the flower pollinator matching game to match the behavioral attributes of the different pollinators and how they match up with the chemical structural attributes of the different flowers. So once again, it's kind of a trial and error thing that the kids can just kind of play with and learn a few things on their own. So next we have the plight of the forager bee, and these are kind of little exercises or little videos that indicate some of the different dangers that a forager honeybee, actually all sorts of pollinating organisms, can face as they go out and forage for different pollen and or nectar. You can click on this and you can, like you're flying with that forager bee in a little airplane. Finally, Visit to the Royal Palace is kind of like a choose your own path gameplay sort of thing. So as you go into the hive, you are asked some questions and you navigate the different casts of bees in the hive, cast of characters. Students can kind of navigate around and learn a little bit about what it's like in the hive working as a honeybee. Hopefully you can kind of pick from this and see how this would work best for you and in your curriculum and your content area, and kind of integrating some of these little activities into what your kids are learning to kind of spur on a little bit of motivation. Some of these are integrated within the lessons themselves. Others are kind of standalone sorts of things. I don't give them any instructions with the landscape game. They just have to try and see if they can figure out what to do to maximize the health of their landscape for pollinators. So not really part of the curriculum, it's just something they get to do. So in future videos, we'll kind of go through each of the lessons more specifically on their own. These like 4 little virtual learning things can be pulled and inserted. So if you're a classroom teacher and you have a sub for the day, there's some activities here that can kind of maximize that learning time while you're out. So stay tuned. The next video will be, I'll just kind of go through lesson 1 and maybe we'll kind of break it down what lesson 1 has to offer and then some other accommodations or modifications to lesson 1s and see which one works best for you. All right, later. Bye.